Webster's dictionary defines melodrama as a work such as a movie or play characterized by extravagant theatricality and by the predominance of plot and physical action over characterization, and it usually has an element of scandal or a secret behind it. During the Renaissance period, the concept of melodrama began to emerge in literary pieces. It included heightened emotions with a complex historical injustice masked as a scandalous secret. Melodrama began to transition to real life as well. One could say that melodrama was even present in the Italian unification and was a main factor and theme throughout the many years. The Italian unification began in 1848 with the goal of uniting Italy into one cultural and political entity. Many young Italian Democrats used the 1848 revolutions as an opportunity for a democratic uprising. In May of 1860, Giuseppe Garibaldi led a small army of Italian nationalists known as the Red Shirts and captured Sicily. Garibaldi then crossed to the Italian mainland and marched north. After taking complete control of southern Italy, the people voted to unite with the North. However, much debate about the fairness of this voting process occurred. In the book The Leopard, evidence of purposeful vote miscounting likely occurred during plebiscite votes in Italy, where the people would vote yes or no for Italian unification. Also, the soldiers under Garibaldi, which were rebels for the Republic, had to go to great lengths of wearing red shirts in order for the blood not to be visible on their clothes. These red shirts hid the blood, showing a false facade of everything being okay and hiding the evidence of violence to accomplish the goal. It is also important to mention that during this time, the presence of the opera played an important role in Italian Renaissance due to its dual purpose. Not only was it a show, but it brought together the different social classes into one central meeting place, and it was usually used to share a message. Opera itself had many hidden messages in what was being sang. During this particular period, it was used to promote Victor Emmanuel as King of Italy by the use of the term Viva Verdi. Verdi being the name of the composer of the operas of the time, but also an acronym in Italian for Victor Emmanuel, King of Italy. This was the only place where the people of Italy could come together and forget about one's social and political differences.
In the movie Senso, based on the piece of literature by Camillo Boito, melodrama is extremely present in the plot. The main character, Livia, is an Italian countess married to an old man. In the story, she is very set on Italian unification, which includes ridding of foreigners from Italy. However, she soon falls in love with an Austrian officer, which in of itself is betraying her Italian nationalist ways. Then, she gives him money so that he can bribe a doctor to say that he is unfit to fight in the war, so that he can assure he will stay alive and still be there as a lover for her. Really, though, his true intentions are to just get money so that he can live a nice life without worrying about fighting and only focus on living in luxury. His main goal is to remove himself from having to fight in the war. The scandalous element that occurs, however, is that he gets out of it by getting money with his sketchy means. Then, when Livia gets a letter from him and finds out that it worked, but not to come see him, she goes to see him anyway in his apartment that she basically is paying for. Also, it's important to mention that the money that she gives him was not hers anyways. It was the money her cousin had collected in his travels to use towards prepping the Italians to fight against the Austrians. And later down the line, they do get defeated by the Austrians because they weren't prepared. Then later, when she gets to his apartment, she finds him with a prostitute, and when they are talking, he is basically saying that he doesn't care about her at all, and that she should leave. After she leaves upset, she takes a letter and goes to one of the Austrian generals and shows it as evidence for him being a fraud. This gets him executed. The fact that she would give away the man she loved with consequences of death is also a scandalous factor in the story. The whole storyline in general has this element of melodrama. The overarching story in the movie focuses on the outcomes of the ongoing wars in the Italian unification, but there are so many instances where these characters add scandals to this plot.
In today's media, melodrama and sketchy politics is a very prominent topic. In fact, it covers the majority of articles and posts we read, especially with this current election still being a hot topic in the United States. As we know, Donald Trump was elected into office this year, defeating Hillary Clinton, and there was a lot of scandalous activity. For one, Hillary Clinton's email scandal, where Hillary was thought to be sending unprotected emails to possible enemy countries. This caused Hillary to lose a lot of votes. There is also a scandal that Donald Trump has a connection to Russia. It is thought that since Trump had Russian support in the election, they rigged the Electoral College and hacked the voting platforms for him to win. This is very similar to the manipulation of the plebiscite votes. Even though today's citizens have more say in voting than they did during the Renaissance, people still feel as though their single vote hardly matters in the grand scheme of things, especially since the popular vote does not always win in the U.S., such as it didn't in this election. Also, during the Renaissance, the opera was really the only platform of political discussion people had. Nowadays, we have several different social media platforms. Twitter is a big place where political and non-political scandal is posted. Some people may make an innocent post about something which can be seen as ignorant by others and start a full-blown dramatic fight. Celebrities get themselves into some hot water too often when they include themselves in this, especially politicians. The fight usually relates back to politics somehow and create intense drama between the opposing sides. Social media is a common place for scandal in the political area. Lastly, magazine headlines are often a great source of melodrama because of the complete over-exaggeration. Magazines tend to make things seem more important and interesting than they actually are, so people will purchase and read their magazines. They will put things on the covers such as pregnancy scares or relationship scandals to get people interested, when, in reality, the article is much more boring and hardly about the topic stated. The presence of melodrama may have been popularized in Italian literature, but over the years has still remained present throughout many human interactions up to this present day. Melodrama can heavily be seen in politics throughout time because there is a lot of messy interactions that occur. It is appropriate to say that this aspect of Italian culture still has influences on the cultures of today, even with its evolution over time. And that, my friends, is the gist of the matrix of Italian civilization.